up this. Okay, we are recording. Thank you. So after Coopernico, who wants to present?
Hi, this is Ivan Lizarralde from ENR, the local cooperative in the Basque region. Hi, Chris. So Chris is from the Basque region, but the south part. We come from the north part. That's the politically correct way to say, okay? Chris
Absolutely,
is the
yes.
Spanish side, and I am the French side.
Okay, notes taken. Okay, so Iban, where are you coming from? Which cooperative?
ENR. Member of REScoop and a very small scope in the Basque region in the north part, 300 inhabitants more or less. Basically working on PV installations. So we have more or less 17 PV park, but very small installations.
Okay, thank you. Who wants to present?
Hi, this is Pau from Energie in Spain. We started in Energie. We started our first step in flexibility was the FlexCop project, which is finishing now. Also, Energie Samen and Escozon is involved, and now we are further working on the topic with the REScoopVPP, and we will be setting up the Spanish pilot also in this project.
Thanks, Pau.
Hello, my name is Guilherme. I'm also from Coopernico, and I work in a European project called PROSEU. It's more on social sciences, but is connected with energy communities. Now in Coopernico, we are really interested in the energy community, and me personally, I work also professionally, academically with flexibility.
Okay, thank you, Guilherme.
Hey,
Next
hi.
one.
I'm Vincent from EnergieID. We work mainly in Belgium around energy monitoring, but also now we are more going into flexibility, but then on the technological side. So I will present later the technology we are working on. And we are also involved in REScoopVPP.
Okay, thank you, Vincent. Next
Hi.
one, Jan.
Yeah, I'm Vincent's colleague Jan. I work together with Vincent on the REScoopVPP project currently, and I'm more of the technical. I'm involved in technical management of the project.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, maybe I can. My name is Linda from Croatia. I'm a member of the Green Energy Cooperative. We are engaged in several projects such as Compile, where it's goal of engagement of citizens, and also crowdfunding projects. I also work with the Faculty of Electrical Engineering on a project of impact exploring local electricity and peer-to-peer electricity trading. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, this is Dimitris. I'm from Electra Energy in Greece, and we are working on the development of community energy in Greece. We support other energy communities to be developed. We work with the government on policy issues, and we are very active in the overall community energy development in the country.
Thank you, Dimitris.
Maybe I can go next?
Yeah, please, Ina.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ines Svennen from EcoPower. I'm project manager. I have been involved in the former WiseGrid smart grid project. Now EcoPower is involved in the REScoopVPP project. And EcoPower, for who does not know, we are a green energy cooperative, green energy producer and supplier as well. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Ina. Who's missing?
I think I can go.
Sarah, yeah.
I'm Sarah from REScoop.eu.
I'm a colleague of Roland, and together we are working in the REScoopVPP project. So we are, and my focus is actually the dissemination and communication of this project.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Do we have everybody? Okay, so maybe we can start. Well, first, I'm pretty much amazed to see so many people interested into the activities of the group. So for me, that's really cool. So thank you very much for being here. I've prepared a few slides for today, which I will share in a minute if I manage to use the new setup of Zoom. I will share my entire screen. This will be more flexible. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, so first, thank you very much. I will tell you, so that's the agenda for today. We have, first, I will say a few words. Well, we can say that it's the start of it now. We'll have few presentation, some projects where we are directly involved as a REScoop.eu. So I will co-present with Vincent REScoopVPP. cVPP will also be represented by Vincent. I don't know why I put REScoop.eu here, but that's okay. And then I've asked some of you, well, I've asked all of you if you had information, news to share, and we'll have a few complementary presentation. So hope that's okay with all of you that are listed here. If not, please let me know. So we'll have René or Dominic about what they're doing in the Netherlands with Energie Samen, Dimitris with Hyperion in Greece, Compile by Nico from Coopernico, and the self-consumption project by Lynn from ZES. I'm not sure, actually I had forgotten it. I'm very sorry, Lynn. I just added last minute. I prepared this a bit in a rush. So you'll have to tell us more about your project. The activity may not be the right one. Okay. So first, yes.
Sorry, Roland, I don't know if André from Luna also wants to add something on the cVPP project.
I don't know if you have space for that, but Luc and I are both in the cVPP project, of course. We can answer questions. I didn't prepare anything. I have plenty of slides, but I didn't prepare anything.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
if you feel like completing what Vincent will say, you can jump in.
I will only tell something about Flanders. That's why I said.
Okay. Well, if needed, I'll jump in.
Okay. Okay, we'll see that. So, as I said, a big welcome to all of you. Just to remind you a bit the general mood of this working group. The general purpose is for all of us to share experience and to learn from cooperatives that are doing things. So really here, I welcome any cooperatives that are interested into the topic, not only the one that have already ongoing activities. So if you want to learn from the others, you're also very welcome. No prerequisite needed. The ones who have already experienced are very welcome to share, and I'll explain a bit more on this later on. And the idea is to enable all the cooperatives that are working on similar topics to network, to be able to contact each other and to strengthen the network of cooperatives working on these challenging issues. So I've listed here a few of the topics we are talking about. The one into the cycles are the core ideas, but it's of course not a closed list. But the key ideas behind the flexibility is, what is demand response, maybe? So explicit demand response, implicit demand response with dynamic pricing. Also about flexibility, demand side flexibility, there's the self-consumption, and how do you optimize self-consumption, making sure you consume most of what you've generated on site. but we are not limited to the demand side, and flexible generation is also a topic that can be brought into the table. And then starting from this, there are all set of new concepts, new things that are popping up and that we are keen to discuss here. Aggregators, ESCO, smart homes, virtual power plants, and of course, the energy communities that are a bit the new legal context for us as cooperatives. Is this clear? Okay, I'll continue. Another thing for this group. So as you know, REScoop.eu works a lot with European Union's financing through a set of projects. And I've kickstarted this group under the frame of REScoop, which is a project where Energie Samen and some Energie are also participating in. Together with ESCO. You've heard Dominique earlier. So that's something that will come to an end in January. Fortunately, we have two other projects on similar topics that REScoop.eu is participating in, and that enables also me to work on this group. That is cVPP. So we'll hear a bit more about this later on. And André come also as a new member of this group under this this frame. So we're keen to hear more from this project. And of course, REScoopVPP, which for us as a federation is a major project that will last until 2023. So it just started. And again, you'll hear more about this later on. So you'll see these logos and activities connected to this because these are projects in which we are involved directly as REScoop.eu, and we have the opportunity to learn as a federation and together with our members. Okay, so going back to the agenda, that was a bit of update. We have few presentation, and sorry, Lynn, again, as I told you, I've put you last minute so you don't appear here, but I've not forgotten you. So I propose that we jump to the next presentation on REScoopVPP. I propose that we stick to 10 minutes by projects because, well, as a max, and if we can, I'm looking at the clock, we have a bit more than 1 hour, and that's already tight. So this would be great if each presentation is done in 10 minutes, including questions. So less than actual 10 minutes. Okay, I will move to REScoopVPP so I can present it to you, and I'll pass the word then to Vincent, who will complement on the technicalities, which are far beyond my own expertise. So REScoopVPP has just started. Sorry, I need to get someone in. Okay, a big welcome to Nicole from SEV in Italy, who just arrived. I was about to present REScoopVPP. So this is a project where we are involved. It's a Horizon 2020 project related to smart homes. The ambition of this project will be for us as cooperatives to develop our own flexibility tools by us, for us. This is how best I can sum it up. You can see the timeline. You can see the participants in here. That's really the specificity of this project that involve only cooperatives or cooperative compatible organizations. And for the background, this project is born out of this group. So that's very much a satisfaction and a success for us also as the flexibility working group, because the people who kickstarted this met through the activities of this group 1 year ago. Okay, so you can see here all the participants. The key features, the key tools of this project will be developed by the 3 first cooperatives that you can see in this list. So I'm very glad that Vincent will be here to tell you a bit more, because EnergieID is also the technical manager of this project. EnerCop is here to develop the forecasting algorithm that Adrien just mentioned earlier. And Carbon Cope will be developing together with EnergieID the key controls at home level, the devices control, and bringing their experience on explicit demand response. I'll go through more details later on. We'll also have BBen and REScoop.eu as two federations involved, and the other cooperatives, Burgerwerke, Samen, Energie, and EcoPower as pilot sites. I'm trying to move to the next. Okay, so just one word on the pilots and what are the services what we'll be exploring within this this project. So as I told you, on the left you'll have the pilot sites together with some of the developers who will bring also their pilot site into the project. And I've listed the different services that these pilots will be exploring throughout the 3 years of the project. So you can see that we are exploring device monitoring and control, which is the first step that is enabled by the box that is brought by Carbon Cope and EnergieID. And then the idea is to develop the demand side flexibility services, enabling self-consumption or optimized self-consumption. So trying to move consumption to time of generation, but also dynamic pricing. So here it's more about optimizing the resources of the retailer. And depending on the cooperative involved, of course, it moves according to their own role as a cooperative. Just as example, Energie is a small cooperative at the scale of the Ghent municipality, and they're mostly installing solar PV into roofs. So they are not a retailer. And when you see that they're experimenting retail activities, it's generally in connection with EcoPower. So that concerns dynamic pricing here. Explicit demand response, we have a couple of examples. I'm not sure I'm accurate. I will have to double check this because Energie is involved in explicit DR, and maybe Luc will be able to correct me if this was wrong. And finally, forecasting tools. And the forecasting tools are brought, as I said, by EnerCop, and this will be tested by the retailers of the group, which are Samen and EcoPower, enabling both demand forecasting and generation forecasting, looking at PV and wind in particular, if I'm correct. Oh, that will be the key aspect of the project. So this is what we are trying to achieve or to put in place during the 3 years of the project. The key ambition, and we'll stop it here before I pass the word to Vincent, is at the end of the project to set up an entity that would enable the tools that will be developed into REScoopVPP to be made available to all the other cooperatives in the network of REScoop.eu through a EU entity that remains to be defined, and a business model that remains to be defined also, and on which we will have 3 years to work in the frame of the project. But really the ambition is that we will develop tools by cooperatives, all the cooperatives involved into the project, for cooperatives with the ambition to make it work after the 3 years. And this, of course, will be a tough challenge, but well, we are a good team to face it. Vincent, can I pass you the word so you can complement on technical aspects?
Yes, I will. If you stop sharing, I can take over. There you go. You should see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I will just give a quick overview of where we are now. So we started in June. I also wanted to say how great it is to see so many now new faces for me, but also to see that this is the result of what we did before. So if the group is growing, I'm sure we will tackle more nice developments. And so where are we now? Now I have to see that I can go to the next slide. Okay. We did, and this is important. We see that every cooperative is working on stuff, and we saw this some time ago, probably 2 years ago or more. And we decided to as fast as possible look at everyone's development and see how we could work together on this. And so here you see the 4 different, let's say, main components we are developing. And you see in the small squares, well, they're not squares, but this octagon, what is the name? Also not, I don't know. Whatever.
Hexagons, Vincent.
Yeah, hexagons, yeah. You see the different cooperatives that were working on these components and how we brought together these prior arts. And see how during the project we can bring it together to a more powerful technology. So the first thing is what we call the coffee box. It's community flexibility box. And what is this? This is the really local gateway to be able to make a home more smart and to make sure that whatever is needed of information can be get by this box to be able to do local intelligent control. This coffee box also has a digital twin, and what is this? This you could see as more the cloud partner or copy of this home, this smart home. And of course, this is still community agnostic. It's more part of this gateway. And this is where you open up the possibilities to other partner services where you get all the data. I will come into this later. Then you have the community layer where you want to organize as a citizen energy community, you want to organize services. And these services mainly go into making houses more intelligent and make sure that you get the maximal profit of local production and dynamic tariffs, etc. And then we have the portfolio side, it's more the supplier or BRP side, where we are talking about a large number of customers. You have to forecast also production demand. And this is the last part. And then you see a small part is, of course, you want to have also an information site where people can see through an app or a website or a local website, the web interface. They want to see more information, of course, on what's happening. So a quick, these 3 components in more detail. So the smart home controller is based on open technology. This home assistant is already a powerful home control software, let's say. And we are making or using this as part to interface with all kinds of technology that is already available. We are making small applets to be able to integrate maybe new technology that's not already there. So like SunSpec inverters, SG-ready heat pumps. These are small applets. We want to add new technology to this common technology. And we bring with some kind of, this will not be this one, but okay, I cannot go into detail too much in the short time, but you want to bring data to the cloud, of course, and to be able to get data from the cloud. And we have small hardware extensions already. For instance, if this gateway is connected to the home modem from the internet, wired to make it just working fine all the time. But of course, sometimes technology is too far away. So we're looking also into some small hardware extensions. Then the digital twin is where we receive data from this coffee box, maybe also other gateways, and where you get the connection to the real communities. I will not go into much detail, but of course, you want to make sure that you can have some calculations, KPIs, that you have a link to the customer, you know who it is. But also important, we want to make it privacy by design. It's the user that decides what has to be done with the data, and only the data necessary for the services should be there. So in the first part, the data is stored locally on the coffee box, and only what is needed will go to the cloud. And then it's the user, of course, that is piloting what should happen to his data. And then the last part is the community portfolio side. This is where we look on the left, on the more retailer side. You have maybe calendar data, weather data, historical data you want to use to be able to run some forecasting models. And these forecasting models should lead to a good load forecast and a good production forecast. You want to add market pricing. And this is what you need as a community to be able to, let's say, get the good information to this coffee box to be able to do something useful on the household side. But also, of course, as a community, you may also want to optimize your portfolio for your own market side of the community. So the community should be able to get profit for the individual households, and on the same time add profit for the community as such, because as a group, as an aggregated group of individuals, you can also optimize the portfolio. So that's it. This is the side of the REScoopVPP technology. So I don't know, maybe if there are some questions.
Yeah, maybe a couple of questions. We are not strictly speaking on time, but I think it's worth it. Are there any questions from you guys?
Yeah, Vincent, just a brief question. How many of these coffee boxes are you planning to install during the course of the project? Ballpark figure.
Yeah, I actually don't know by heart, but I think at least, I think we were aiming at 200 boxes for households, and also some more business-oriented buildings, but I don't know by heart, maybe 20. Maybe Jan, you know better, or someone else. But in this number, something around this number.
Oh, very interesting. And I guess it's too soon to say what kind of price this end user device would have.
But it's important to know that it started out to be affordable and community driven. So actually our basis is just a Raspberry Pi of, let's say, 35 euros in a plastic box. So this will be very affordable. Of course, during the project, we're working hard to make it maintainable or manageable from a community side. Mm-hmm. So the hardware side will be very cheap. But of course, we have to be able to organize software updates. And,
yeah. Oh, very interesting. I'll be following closely this project.
Of course, I don't have the time to go into much detail. It's just meant to give you all an update, and because it started from the demand this demand response working group, I think it's very nice for everybody to follow it up, and hopefully we can work on it with more communities later.
Okay. One more question, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
André, I think.
Yeah, I had a question. You have weather there as I guess for forecasting. How do you see that work? Because you need some way of forecasting. Do you have a solution for that already?
Sorry, André, I don't get your question, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, if you do things like demand response, it's good to have a forecasting module. Do you just buy that, or how do you take care of it?
You mean the forecasting of production or load of the weather? Or?
Both. The weather basically predicts both the production and also the demand to some extent.
So,
yeah, so maybe
Yeah,
Adrien.
Vincent, I think Adrien can take
Yeah,
this
that's
question.
what
yeah.
I propose.
So usually we buy the weather forecast from a service provider because this is something very specific with a lot of models, and we're not able to forecast the weather for sure. And then at Energie, we've been developing load forecasting from weather and other data for now 4 years, and it works quite nicely, at least for an aggregated portfolio of a few thousand people or tens of thousands of people. And we're now working on the production side forecasting.
Okay, so you basically you buy the weather data and then you make your own.
Actually, we get the weather data for free for now. We just get from public API from Météo France in France.
Okay.
But probably we'll switch to something more professional in the future.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you all for your interest. I propose we move to the next topic, which is a presentation of cVPP. Vincent, you can keep the word actually and go for a few explanation on this. Luc, feel free. No, André. Well, both of you actually. Feel free to complement, but I guess Vincent is much more likely to be accurate on Flanders. If André, you want to complement with what's happening in Lunen, please do so.
Yeah, so I just wanted to update you all on what's happening in Flanders on the cVPP project and also on EnergieID. Just to give an overview of what's there, because this will also, what we are testing there is already used in the REScoopVPP project, of course, as a prior art. But to give an idea, we have 16 residential PV installations with a home battery. It's a BYD battery pack with SMA storage buoy and solar buoy inverters. We have one bigger battery at an Aldi shop. It's 20 kilowatt hours, and there is a 100 kilowatt peak PV. We have also former projects, so we're now adding 28 former participants to the WiseGrid project and Buurzame Stroom project. They have all residential PV and a smart meter. It's a Fluxy device with a lot of minute data on electricity, but not we don't have any real flexibility there, so no home batteries or other stuff. And then I will update you on our hybrid heat pump project, because if you want to get intelligent homes, you need some kind of flexibility, and it's clear that we have EVs as a source of flexibility. We have electrical batteries, but we also believe with houses with a lot of gas heating that we need more electrified heating, and we use a hybrid heating as, let's say, a thermal battery. So we are also testing on this. So let me give you a short update where we are now. So the first thing, the control strategy that is working is a peak absorption. And so also to comment to Andre is that the coffee box itself is making a solar forecast. And what we want to do is to make sure that the battery is not full the moment that the sun goes up and the battery starts charging. It's too early full, and we are missing the real peak at the afternoon, at noon. That may be or might have or cause the most problems on the grids, on the voltage. So that's why we block the batteries based on already a forecast of what the solar yield would be on the day and the household consumption. And then we try to figure out when is the perfect moment to start loading the batteries. So we built a cVPP dashboard where we can see all you see here to the battery level and the PV production of one cluster. You see 5 different Engelstraat is a street and 5 different households. And you see here on the left the PV production. You see actually that the inverters are a little bit too small. So they themselves are already curved out, but here you see a bigger installation. So this is the PV production. And then you see the battery level, and you see that the batteries goes down by the consumption in the households, one faster than the other. And you see actually that at 8 o'clock the sun goes up and starts producing the PV, and actually only at 12 o'clock the batteries go up in level, and you see that they level out a little bit later, but at 16 hours you see that the PV peak is passed. So this is actually working nice. Two other control strategy, which is less I think urgent and also more difficult to test, is the collective curtailment, where the inverters in our cVPP, they can talk together. So in one feeder, in one street, for instance, we developed a way of the coffee box can actually subscribe to a channel that gives the coffee box information on the inverters, the other inverters in the street. And if one inverter has a problem, the others will know, and they can actually control their SMA solar boy. But yeah, I don't have the time to explain it all, but the UGent also did some research on the control strategy, and actually at this moment, we think that at the total level of result, there is even a better scenario, but maybe later on this on another time. And then the other one is the neighborhood optimization. So this is also something, of course, in the REScoopVPP we want to research more and develop more. But the idea is that we should be able to aggregate all these individual batteries as one bigger asset. So that if one battery is full and there is a lot of injection, the household should be able to exchange energy to others that might have more flexibility. Then just a quick picture, so you have an idea. This is one household with all the technology we have. So this buffer is the thermal battery, then the BYD electrical pack, the two inverters, and at the outside you see here the monoblock heat pump we use. So the idea is that it's a smaller heat pump, not for the full load of the house, but we have the current gas heating as backup. So we always have, what we do is actually integrate a thermal storage tank in the existing gas heating. And you see here how it looks. And with this, a quick first update on the summer, let's say, so the production of sanitary hot water, domestic hot water. You see here, if the heat pump here on this side, you see the red is the consumption of the heat pump. So we have minute data of this consumption. Here you see the PV production and the injection in green, and you see actually we are here absorbing a lot of the PV production, and so eliminating the injection. And we put this in our thermal buffer that will then produce domestic hot water. And now we will go into testing it in the heating season. So we will start seeing how we can change gas to local renewable energy. And then a quick update on EnergieID, because we have a new of course, interfacing with people is important, but also having data secure on a good place, but also structured. So we worked a lot on structuring energy data and making sure we improve the data sets so it could be used further on down the road for community update, but also for measurement verification of results. So just to update you that the new version will be live soon. We are working towards the 1st of January, and we will be able to go later on first to daily reports and later on 50 minutes reports. But also focused a lot on benchmarking. We have a notification and messaging center. And we built an app in another project. It's Circular South project. This is an interfacing for people on the iOS, Android smartphones, making sure that they get good insight on their data but also focusing on a bot with nudging. We didn't make the messages themselves, but it's a bot that helps people towards a more circular life. And we even developed together in the project, it's not our development, but we did the interfacing then for a blockchain wallet with circular coins. That's it. A small update on what we're working in Flanders.
Okay. André, do you want to say a couple of words with what you're doing in Lunen?
Yeah, I can say some words about it, but I also suggest that I prepare a presentation maybe for a next meeting, because you know it's
yeah, sure. Actually, that's
it's not
very
easy
relevant
to explain.
comment.
But we have something similar, because in Lunen we also have a community-based virtual power plant. However, we work with a closed source system, so an existing platform from ICT automation in the Netherlands. We added to that a gateway, which was also, let's say, off the shelf. It's called an Energie. And we have installed a dashboard in Lunen with all the participants. So we have an energy management system that can give you the, let's say, the real-time data on generation and usage. We can steer now heat pumps, a couple of them. So we basically have shown how we can make sure that the heat pump starts pumping, let's say around 12 o'clock, when there's a lot of energy available, without without having lost that energy or by the evening. So we've shown that. We still have a lot of things to do, because we also want to do charging of cars, have that also automated towards the peak of the solar energy. We are looking at storage, but storage remains a difficult business case. And we are making the system in such a way that it can handle dynamic pricing. And we have also prepared it in such a way, or it is being prepared in such a way, that it can do something on a new platform in the Netherlands, which is called GoPax, where the DSO, the local DSOs, want to trade with flexibility. So it's sort of future-proof for those kinds of developments. In our system, we have currently some 70 participants, and by the end of the year, we expect to have 100 or more. And adjacent to the project, we also did a 100% participative solar roof, a 900 kilowatt roof, producing currently. And we are preparing that in such a way that it can be curtailed. So it's not demand side management, but it's sort of production side or supply side management. Curtailment is of course not what you want. Of course you would like to sort of avoid curtailment by increasing the self-consumption at moments that it becomes important. So I think that's sort of where we stand at the moment. We're pretty happy with the result, but still a lot of work needs to be done. That's sort of in a nutshell. But as I said, I can make a presentation next time, 10 minutes or something like that.
Okay, that would be very welcome, and thanks for the additional details. Are there any questions to Vincent or André? So on both cVPP, but also Circular South and what Vincent presented. Nicole?
Yes, hello from my side. Just a question, Vincent. For the first part of your presentation, do you think that could be also applicable to other EU states?
For us, so what I presented on cVPP technology is part of the prior art we are using in the REScoopVPP project. So for us, the REScoopVPP is building further on it. And of course, the idea is that it will be European-wide possible to use this community-driven technology. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's hope. Because in Italy now they have put out new legislation that allows for the sharing of energy also in communities. So energy communities are now legally also somehow defined. So this is really important and also interesting.
Yeah, you have to understand what we do is first make sure that this smart gateway, that you have the possibility to get already an insight of what's happening. But the real, for me, it's not clear yet when you talk about peer-to-peer trading. For us now at the moment, we think the community has a big part in this, this organizing of the trading within a community. And the question is it real peer-to-peer? Let's say me and my neighbor are directly sharing energy, or does it pass by the community? And is it the community that just makes sure that the energy is
that there's an intermediary in between?
And make sure that the best person gets the energy, because maybe my neighbor is not the best one at the moment to get it at the time. So this is for me not clear yet, and I think we start more from the idea of the community rather than real just peer.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, very interesting everything. Thank you for the presentation.
Okay. Any complementary questions to Vincent or André? Okay, so maybe we can move to the next topic. I would take it into the order. Maybe Energie Samen then. Which one of you wants to present, Dominique or René?
Well, René is sharing screen. We are. I will do the introduction, and then René is continuing. We are doing together with the TSO in the Netherlands, TenneT, a pilot for using flexibility
Dominique, maybe
balancing. You have it in the total presentation. Okay, that is a very short introduction then for my colleague René. René, the floor is yours.
Okay, you can see the screen, I suppose.
Yes,
you
can see it.
Energie Samen is a national organization, but in the Netherlands we have around about 600 cooperatives, and a lot of these cooperatives already have production facilities. About 50 have big production facilities. One of them is the cooperative Endona, which is in the village of Heten. And they have a park already there, and that is 2.2 megawatt. And what we are currently now doing, Dominique and I, in the project, we are installing a 1 megawatt battery in this park, and that will be installed here, because here in this place there's some room. There will be 4 big containers, and in these containers there will be the lead access battery. Why lead acid? Normally it will be lithium batteries, but because we are using a lead acid, we could get money for the government to try this out. Because in the Netherlands we have a local producer of lead acid batteries, and he wanted to test if these batteries are also suitable for flexibility. So what are we going to do then is the next step. You have different markets. This is the market from the TSO. In the Netherlands, we have only one TSO, that's the TenneT. And there we have the balancing market. And on this balancing market, we have several markets, the FCR market, the AFFR market, the MFFR, and the RR market. Normally, you see big batteries active on this market, on the FCR market. But we are going to sell our flexibility to the AFFR market. That's because in the recent period, for a year ago, the TenneT started the pilot. And in this pilot, the AFFR market would be possible also for smaller production sites, and also solar and wind production sites. And we said, okay, we want to join. Dominique and I went there to the TenneT, and we said, we don't know anything about flexibility. We don't know anything about the AFFR market, but we are the cooperatives, and the cooperatives are the people. And we think that the people should also be possible to be active on this market. So please let us join. So during this journey, together with you, that we can be active on this market, we can learn a lot and make it possible for people to join this market. And they said, okay, you can join. What we are planning now is that we want to be a so-called BSP, that's a balanced service provider. And this balanced service provider is going to deliver the flexibility of the solar park and of the battery on the AFFR market. We're setting up an aggregator, and this aggregator is getting the role of the BSP. And the purpose is that this aggregator is now selling the flexibility of the cooperative and donor, but later on we want to deliver this service to other cooperatives in the Netherlands. As said, we specifically start now on the AFFR market, but later on we could also add on, for instance, the FCR market. There's another picture. There's this picture, because if you have flexibility and you can be an aggregator, you can sell this flexibility on several other markets. And this is a picture of the organization USEF. And USEF is generally defining how should the markets look like and what kind of roles do we have. Was told before, for instance, this market, the grid and congestion management market from the DSO's. There's a system in the Netherlands that's called COPAX. And if you want to sell flexibility for this congestion market, you can sell it via COPAX. So we start with the aggregator, start selling our flexibility on the AFFR market, and later on we can add on, for instance, the congestion market for the DSOs. What is the aggregator going to be? It's a little bit in this picture. We want to set up a local cooperative aggregator. And cooperative aggregator, it will be owned by all the cooperatives who are taking the services from this cooperative aggregator. So currently now Endona, the cooperative Endona, is going to use the services of this cooperative aggregator. But later we go on to other parties in the Netherlands and say, hey, if you have a solar park or a wind park, please give us your flexibility, and then we can sell it together on the different markets. This aggregator is mostly steered by Energie Samen. So Energie Samen will make sure that it will be a cooperative initiative. But we said to be active in this market, we think as cooperative we are too small to be a big player or a player there. Therefore, in the Netherlands, we found other partners, commercial partners, who can support us in building this cooperative aggregates. And one of these partners is ICT Group. André was telling you about that. They have their platform, their software. It's called Energy Next. And with the software we will use. And we asked them, please, can you join us for setting up this aggregator? So they will deliver the platform on which we can control all the devices. Also, we asked Mijn Domein Energie. It's a company in the Netherlands who currently is now selling URLs on the web applications, but they want to be active in the energy market. And we said, please, can you join us? And they can bring in investments or assets and knowledge about this market. Together with these three parties, we are now running a project. It's called Flex Lokaal for setting up this aggregator. Who's going to be the owner of this aggregator? What kind of services is going to deliver? So we are going to deliver the services to cooperatives here on the right side. The cooperatives bring in assets like big batteries or the solar park or the wind park, which can be curtailed. We can curtail those solar and wind park. And these assets will be brought to the market, for instance, to the TSO, like you said before. So if we sell flexibility to the TSO, it will bring in money, and the money will go back to the cooperatives then. And the aggregator can then do a portfolio optimization, because if we have a big portfolio of assets, big batteries and solar parks, we can control the better. We focused in the beginning on these three things because we believe, or we think, we hope we can earn money with these flexibility. But we have already calculated that, so we made business models for curtailment and big battery, and it looks that they will bring money, but that is the pilot we are now doing. Like I told you before, we are going to install a big battery that will be there in October, and then we will be active on the EVR market, and then we will really see and prove if we can earn money with this solar park and with the battery. So, like I said, we start here with where the money is, so we can earn money. But of course, in the future, we want to add other flexibility assets, like home storage, or we can have a vehicle, an EV storages, or we can have a warmte pump that's a heat pump. So if we start with where the money is, and we can make an aggregator, and later on we can add all these new flexibility sources, which is already which are also in the households. Okay, we hope this aggregator, currently Dominique is now the current aggregator, because we are going to deliver the flexibility to the tenant system. So now we already have to be officially an aggregator. And Dominique, his company, Eskezon, is this aggregator who has a formal contract with the tenant. But later on, we will turn over this contract to the cooperative aggregator, which are right now setting up. And we hope that this cooperative aggregator, as an institute or as a real company, is there within 3 or 4 months. Okay.
Wow, thank you, René. I think this is really exciting, especially because I got to see this coming step by step, and now I can see that it's really taking form. And when you say 3 to 4 months, I'm really amazed. So first, congratulations, guys. I think that's an amazing achievement. But still a lot to do in front. Are there any questions to René and Dominique? Questions on explicit demand response, TSO, DSO? Also, we've heard that you're sharing some partners with Lunen from the cVPP project. Also, you're sharing some targets, the DSO, the GoPax DSO market, which is something I think pretty unique. Maybe in the UK there are structured markets for DSO congestion management, but I think this is the only one other case.
I can say, Roland, we are in close contact with René and Dominique, and see how we can join forces basically to make this a success.
Okay, that's very good to know, and hope this will be fruitful cooperation.
Yeah.
René, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
This 1 megawatt battery, it's the first pilot project, but probably with this battery, it's not enough to have the right business model. So for earning money, let's say. So which do you think that would be the amount of assets, or which will be the size of the battery, or how many batteries you would need to make it work with the AFR market? I mean,
you for the AFR market, you need 1 megawatt. So with this 1 megawatt, we can be already active on the AFR market. That's why we choose a 1 megawatt battery.
Yeah, this is the minimum bid, but
yeah.
You will have enough business with 1 battery to set up the aggregator, or?
But Paul, that's a good question. How big or how big of a portfolio of batteries we need to be profitable or to have a profitable business? That's what we are going to find out. That's what we are currently now doing. We are setting up this aggregator, but therefore we need to have a kind of business model for the coming years. So we need to have a forecast of how many batteries we need to get a real profitable business. And I don't know yet how much we need there for doing that.
But Paul, for sure, it will be that the more volume we have, the better prices we can make. So we can do lower bids because the overhead costs can be spread about more megawatts power. So actually, if it would be 100, it would be better than 10.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And having a battery in a solar park maybe allows you to better valorize your production. Maybe you can go to intraday markets. Are you thinking with this type of markets, or you are just going to balancing?
No, there are more possibilities. One also peak shavings, so that balancing for the balancing responsible party, BRP, who is given us a fine now for the fact that we have the volume is going so. And if we can put it straight, then we can say to the BRP, we are not giving you an imbalance, so we want a better price. So there are more possibilities than only the balancing market.
Like this is stating, Paul, we start here with the balancing market. We have to start with the AFFR because normally batteries are for the FCR market. But then we will also be on passive balancing. So you can sell your flexibility to the BEP and the BEP with self-balancing. But also we are currently in the Netherlands, we are stating we want to be, we already have in the Netherlands a lot of production. So we have production. We also have two energy supplies, cooperative energy supplies in the Netherlands. And we want to start up with building this BSP, Balanced Service Provider, and cooperative. And later on, we are hoping that we can also be the Balanced Service or the BEP, Balanced Responsible Party. So there are also some guys in the Netherlands walking around. We should have a cooperative balancing service, balancing responsible party. But therefore, we said let's build up with the BSP. Then we can have flexibility, and then if we have flexibility, then we can also be better on the market because we can use our own flexibility to be active or to be in balance.
Okay. A couple of precisions for people who are listening. The different reserves are just here classified from the primary reserves to tertiary reserves. I think MFRR and RR are both tertiary reserves. Also, the passive balancing you were referring to, I think that a setup that exists only in Netherlands, where the TSO publishes the imbalances prices real time, so BRP can correct their position close to real time. That's the general idea. Actually, I don't know much more about it, but
is that only in the Netherlands, Roland?
I know the setup is pretty specific in the Netherlands, that your TSO is making quite some effort on transparency on the status of the market to enable BRP to react close to real time. So it's a bit in between. It's a balancing market open to BRP.
Yeah. But what's nice in this project is that we can talk a lot about everything, but currently we're now really doing it. And in doing it, then we learn what's really happening. So we will be active with this 1 megawatt battery, and then we will really find out. So
learning by doing. That's a great conclusion. I propose we move onward.
I have a question, if I may.
Okay. Yeah. Further question.
So it really looks very interesting to me as well. I'm just wondering, you mentioned in the beginning that the battery, the lead acid battery, You're working with this kind of battery for several reasons, but one of the reasons was because it was a Dutch producer, and does it mean that the battery was it sponsored, let's say, or do you have to make the investment yourselves?
No, it was a project which we will subsidize. So each supplier of this project, there's the battery supplier, there's the container supplier, there's the software supplier, we all get subsidized. And the battery is now owned by this battery supplier. And he got 60 or 70% of subsidized. So the rest he has to pay himself. But for him, it's very interesting to produce a battery, a lead acid battery, which can be active on this market.
Yeah, and for sure, learning by doing. But my question is, if you leave aside the subsidies, is it still feasible, you think?
Yeah, jein, yes and no.
Jein?
Jein, ja und nein. We already had, that was done by Dominique. He had how you call it? A
feasibility study.
A feasibility study are made of batteries in the Netherlands. And based on this feasibility studies, it seems that you can make a business out of batteries. But also in the Netherlands, in Limburg, in Weert, a cooperative is also doing such a same program, but then with a 0.5 megawatt battery. And they sell this to the FCA market with another thing. And there, it looks like this battery is also making a profit. A very small profit, but it looks like a profit.
Okay.
And that
well, maybe we don't need to go into detail. And, well, then I'm just interested, but maybe I will ask you separately what the remuneration levels are in the Netherlands. I don't know them by heart, but it's interesting for us to know. So it's very interesting to hear that this could be economically feasible, even after the project.
And
because that's the barrier where we are handing over.
That's what we really want to find out. Is it also economically feasible? And then if it's economically feasible, then we can go to cooperative and make them an offer and say, look, this is economically feasible. We already have a cooperative aggregator, so we can start building the business.
Yeah. Because I assume now you have contracts with the other cooperatives only for the lifetime of the project, I assume, because during the project lifetime, you can only use this battery for free, let's say, or I don't know. Yeah, okay.
But
okay, guys, I propose we move on because we were meant to have 3 other presentations and I see the time is running.
Yeah.
So also the Basecamp is there to share questions and comments and stuff like that. So you can easily be in contact one with the other. Have Coopernico, Electra and ZES. So I propose we take it in this order and we'll see if this fits. Is that okay? So I would propose Nico to take the word and present. Also, I have your presentation if you want.
I can present.
Okay, as you wish.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So I'll try to be short. And also, I would like to say that here in Portugal, I feel we're a bit, say, not as advanced as in the Netherlands, for example, with the legislation. And so here I will focus mainly on collective self-consumption and renewable energy cooperatives. So I would just like give you a quick update of this new law that came out in October 2019, and it has been let's say, applied from the beginning of this year. And then I will talk just a little bit about our pilot project implementation here in Portugal, in Lisbon, that is trying to develop collective self-consumption in residential buildings. So to give you very brief updates. So in October 2019, this new law passed, and it recognized basically the possibility to have collective self-consumption and to create renewable energy communities. And then also it recognized this new figure of like an independent aggregator and the possibility to start peer-to-peer trading. Even though I think it recognized these two last points, I think the main benefits of this new law, it has been the possibility to create collective self-consumption and renewable energy communities. At the moment, we still don't have any active community or collective self-consumption. But basically from the beginning of 2020, it has been possible to start registering this type of projects. At the moment, until the end of the year, we can only work with projects and collective self-consumption with consumers at the same voltage level. So for example, everybody in low voltage in this case, or it could be also like for industrial park, all clients in medium voltage level. And then from 2021, it is forecasted or foreseen it will be possible also like to work with a little bit more complex project where clients from different voltage level can be aggregated in the same collective self-consumption or renewable energy community. So just to give a very, very brief overview of like benefits of this new law. First of all, it has been really good that this collective self-consumption is made in a virtual way, so through a net metering methodology, where all the production of the collective self-consumption is aggregated, and then each consumer that is part of this collective self-consumption has attributed a percentage of the production for each 50 minutes. And then this division is made basically by simple math. We have a very flexible concept of proximity. So instead of having like a fixed rule to define if a project is eligible, be approved as a collective self-consumption project or a renewable energy cooperative, case by case, our legislator is gonna assess and approve or not the projects. And then of course, like this new law is a new opportunity for citizens to invest in renewable energy. On the, let's say, con sides, unfortunately, we still have a very low penetration of smart meters for the low voltage consumers. And this, of course, is a key technology in order to allow new projects to kick off. There is still quite some excessive and complex bureaucracy to register new projects. And there is a lack of long-term financial support. And that's probably also like one of the reasons why we still don't have any project currently active yet. Now, talking a little bit more, let's say, on the specific case. So in the scope of the European project Compile, Coopernico is working to create one of the first, or maybe the first, renewable energy community or collective self-consumption project here in Portugal. We're working for a condominium that has 8 buildings, around 880 apartments and 2 shops, in order to aggregate all this consumption to create a renewable energy community. Here you have a picture from the top of the condominium itself. And you can see these like yellow squares are the different building. And you can see some other, say, geometrical shapes. In red are the currently installed solar panels in the building. In fact, the building already had some individual self-consumption for the 8 individual common areas of the building. And basically, with this project, we aim to expand the capacity installed in order to aggregate all the production and then supply not only the common areas of the building, but also the individual apartments and the shops present in the whole condominium. So far, before the project started, we already had this capacity installed of solar panels, divided in 8 individual UPAC, stands for basically individual self-consumption, only supplying the common areas. Within the project, we already managed to create a draft of what could be an internal regulation for this new renewable energy community, in order to, for example, define how the electricity produced is going to be divided between the consumers. And we already managed to make the Condominium General Assembly approve this draft of internal regulation, and to prove the fact that their interest, let's say, to keep going with the development of this project. But now we still have some challenges, or we're still working on some critical aspects. And 2 main ones are the ones listed here. So we are actually currently trying to work on the, let's say, best sizing of this new system, taking also into account how to integrate and include the current system that is already there. And also, like, an important thing is how to minimize the use of the public grids. And then another aspect that also is quite important is how is this project going to be financed? So the condominium has usually annually available some capital, but this won't be enough to expand the system as much as it has to. So we're studying the possibility to finance it through the Coopernico cooperative, let's say, crowdfunding investments. But we still have to find out more specificity since it's a new project that we still haven't, say, had the experience to do such a type of investments. And yeah, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And
okay, thank you very much, Nico. Any questions to Nico? Maybe a short timing decision. It's already close to 11:30. We still had 2 more presentations to go. Should we take them today, which means we'll go half an hour more, or should we keep them for next time, which would be to be defined, but in a couple of months from now?
Maybe today for me.
Maybe you can use the yes/no button. Who can stay half an hour more? And if you can quickly go on the, I see Iban is okay. That's cool. Andre cannot. Can you use the yes/no on the side? I have only 4 voters for now. Please, guys, let me know. I think it's a bit shared. Yeah, it's okay. It's growing half. So I think we'll lose half of the group if we go for today. I'm really sorry for the 2 other presenters, for Lynn and who was there as well, Dimitris.
It's me. Yes, I'm fine. I can stay for another 10 minutes. So yeah, I can do it now, or we can do it in during the next meeting. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
In any case, I can stay only for 10 minutes more.
It's fine. Also, it's not problem. So
okay. Sorry for that, guys. I'll be more strict with the timing and maybe arrange better the agenda next time. I was too optimistic for this time, and also I was a bit pessimistic related to the participation to that group. So we will close on Nico. Are there any questions to Nico? So here we've moved to a different topic, to the actual implementation of a renewable energy community oriented on collective self-consumption. on few buildings. There are not strictly speaking flexibility services implemented yet, but we could hear that this would be a challenge for the next step of the project, how to minimize the use of the grid.
Yeah, I have a question. I don't know if it is targeted to Nico, or I guess it's for the whole group, because our project is very, very close and very, very similar to what Nico just presented. My question is how collective self-consumption can contribute on flexibility, on increasing flexibility. Obviously, we are making use of the grid. Okay, we're not going to create our own grid. So I was just wondering.
I think if I can maybe very generally speaking, I feel from the kick-in, or let's say, of a project and in a passive way, just aggregating production and consumption, I feel it can then evolve into a more, let's say, minded and studied also management of assets. So I feel as a first step, it might be not really helping a lot, but then I'll see then by evolving it and by maybe tracking better like the demands of the aggregated community and maybe the forecasting of the production, collective self-consumption could somehow help the flexibility, maybe adding some assets, or if there are already present some assets that can be managed, it could maybe add up and also help flexibility in this sense.
I agree. Also, to bring a complement to this, we don't have figures yet. That's one of the cases that is being explored actually by Samen in the REScoop project, but the measurements have not been done yet. So we were exploring individual self-consumption, and depending which assets you have there, if it's just heating devices you're using, or if you have actual battery or EV to connect, this may make a huge difference. So we'll see. In our cases, we're using more domestic hot water. No, we're not using them. Well, we're using heating devices, HVAC in general, but we don't have the digits yet. And then on collective consumption, maybe from the cVPP project, guys, do you have more results to share on how much you can improve self-consumption?
Roland, I think if I understood the question well, there is a difference, of course, between more auto-consumption, which is more about consuming energy at the right moment, but also on grid support, like voltage control. So we have a collective, that was right, a question, more about what grid support can do, or not? So this is,
yes,
this is on the feeder level. So typical, the last in the line has the problems because every inverter has to go up in voltage. So you could either make sure that all the inverters go down in their production a little bit, or more to the reactive side, so that you help the grid at that moment. Or either you go at the end, the last one, you make sure he goes down a little bit and that he doesn't disconnect, but that he still can offer his production to the grid. And then, of course, you make sure that when there is a real voltage problem, maybe you add additional consumption, that you store your batteries, that you maybe make sure you charge your car. But in the first place, you try to have the voltage control by controlling the inverters itself, the production itself, but just a little bit, so you don't lose too much production, but you make sure that the last one doesn't disconnect based on too high voltage. Is this an answer to the question?
Okay. I think it's about time to leave.
Hola. May I say
Yes.
something? Is it real fast? So you said that we were going to maybe make a next meeting in a couple of months. Maybe we could make it sooner. It was just my proposal.
Okay, Bill, that's a perfect introduction to the concluding remarks. I will just share my screen if I can do this. Okay. Oh shit, this is not at all what. Okay, you can see my screen anyhow. We'll just damn. Okay, we're going no. Well, this will be the best way I will be able to show it. What I wanted to say is first, indeed, we need to plan the next telcos. The initial suggestions was to have quarterly telcos. If you feel that more are needed and that this is a great space for exchanges, I'm open to do more. So if you want to do it in 1 month from now, just to complete the other presentations, and then we can do to a, there's a kind of bottleneck right now because it's not been active for a year, and we have all these projects and all these developments that will be eager to learn about. So I need a bit of your input. Do you want a earlier meeting in a month from now, for example? So we have the complementary presentation and more discussion, or 2 or 3 months from now is
maybe
okay.
Maybe 6 weeks. Maybe 6 weeks would be a nice period.
I feel okay. Any other complementary? I feel the Dutch are quite oriented, and the Dutch speakers are going for 6 weeks. Dimitris is fine with this. Other comments? 6 weeks. Nicole nodding.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris is fine. Okay, guys. Pau. Let's go for 6 weeks, and we'll see. I will ask again the question in 6 weeks. The general idea was to have 4 times a year, but we'll see what's the good path. As I said, there's a bit of excitement right now. Also, what we have an important opportunity is to meet face to face. We are scattered across Europe, and meeting face to face, well, depending on the context, of course, we'll see if this takes place. But the REScoop.eu General Assembly, as you know, is the opportunity for conferences and workshops and discussion. And this would be a great opportunity also to gather this group around a dedicated workshop. So this will be on the 22nd and 24th of April. And hopefully we'll all be there to meet each other. But more than that, we also have some coming webinars or webinar suggestions. So partners from the cVPP project came with a suggestion or to discuss VPP and the regulation. So we already had quite some insights from for Portugal with Nico, but there are also learnings from Ireland, the Netherlands, Belgium, which are the projects involved into cVPP. So that could be a webinar in the coming weeks. Also, we've been in touch with Grid Singularity through contacts that BBen is having. For those of you who know Malte from Germany. They're developing an energy sharing platform. They have some live demos that are quite interesting. So if you are interested into energy sharing, this is a webinar we will be setting up probably by the end of the year or early next year. This is not decided yet. And complementary to this, of course, there's the Basecamp platform. You all know it. Please use it. Don't be shy. This is a tool where everybody's connected and you can ask your questions. You can talk bilaterally. You can talk to the whole group. You can download stuff there. So really, that's the platform for exchanges. And finally, as you know, as you may have seen, I started a little report based on the previous stories that have been shared into this this group, where I'd like to compile all the initiatives, all the projects that you guys and your cooperatives are developing, so we don't lose the experience of the past telcos when time is passing by, but we can compile them, pile them up, and have an overview of what's happening. So I will update it after each call. Feel also free to go there and to send me your comments. It's an actual doc, Microsoft Doc Word, so you can download it, make comments and send it back to me. And step by step, I'm planning to have this overview of what's happening in Europe, so you guys can use it to know who's doing, things you are interested in, collective self-consumption, demand response, with the TSO, with the DSO, with whatever. So this can be a tool for all of us. Okay. I hope this has been interesting for you. This has been very interesting for me. I'm glad to see you all here. Feel free to comment, to suggest presentations also for 6 weeks from now. We will start with the 2 that were not happening today. And any conclusion remark from you?
I can do something about Lunen next time in 6 weeks. Also.
Okay, that's great. Noted. Thank you very much. Well, hope you enjoyed it. Please comment anything you want to contribute or you are expecting from this group. The door is always open on Basecamp, on my email address, and well, looking forward to the next meeting.
Thank you, Roland.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye.
See you next
Thank
time.
you.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye bye.
Sarah, you're the only one connected. That's great. So you can give me your feedback on the you're on mute. Mute.
Oh, sorry. I need to run for another meeting.
Okay, well, no feedback then.
I will do it. Okay, bye. Well done. Great.
Okay, cool.
Too short, actually. Yeah.
Cheers.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.